Thank you very much. Good morning. How are we feeling? Me too. I love it. Thank you very much for all the energy, all the anticipation. Presidents-elect, let's hear from you. Perhaps a bit more excited than you were yesterday at this time. That's good. We got some big shots in the house. Jim Henry is my aide, everybody. Rotary does AIDS better than any other event. He's been looking after me, and I made a new friend. Thank you very much, sir. Vicky, great talk yesterday. John, great talk yesterday. You were a lot funnier on stage than you were when I ate with you earlier. Don't know what happened there, but I was grateful. Ron's here, Mary Beth's here, Jetta, thank you very much, everybody. It's good to be here. It occurs to me that we're really getting into motion now on this presidents-elect thing, you know, like stuff is getting real. Anybody get that feeling? It's starting to, yeah. And, you know, motion is good, and it's like the motion of the ocean, you know. We're starting to get into some rhythm here because this rhythm is going to be really important to your success. We can't have you be a staid, S-T-A-I-D, president-elect or leader, because a staid leader creates a staid club. We need motion, and I love what's happening. And motion is change, right? And think about just how we've done our meetings in recent times. There was a moment there, a long moment, where we never had any other option except in-person meetings. We'd never say what kind of meeting it was because it was always the same damn meeting, in person. And then we had this thing called virtual meetings, right? And then I actually made the sequence because I was having trouble keeping it in my head. We have hybrid meetings, then we had in-person meetings again, then we had hybrid optional meeting, right? And then I heard, yesterday I heard a new one. It was, we're going to meet in person every first and third Thursday and virtual every second and fourth Thursday, and that's called hybrid. So we get this change because nothing stays the same for very long, right? A famous philosopher once said, you can only dip your foot into the same stream once because it's a different stream the second time you dip. And I do think that's true. Flying here from Detroit, Michigan, I noticed the same kind of thing, that motion caused change. Motion introduced situations to me, right? We had a big ice storm up, the one everybody's been reading about in Michigan, and a lot of power lines were out on the way to the airport. And it was interesting because it wasn't 7 or 8 red lights in a row. It was 2 red lights, and then 2 red lights worked, and then 2 red lights didn't work. And everybody was on high alert because you just never knew when you were going to get a 4-way stop. Fascinating. Change, right? Motion. I'm in transit, and I noticed change. I brought a book with me I'm editing. It's called Redlining, where, you know, you just sit and kind of make cosmetic changes to it. I'm pretty far along in it. And I thought, well, this is great. A flight to Dallas. I'm going to get maybe 3 hours of editing done. And I got this all gamed out. As you know, I fly a lot. And here's how I think about it. Like I sit in the left aisle, in the right seat, right? And the light comes in from up above on the left, because I'm right-handed and I don't want the shadow to obscure what I'm writing, right? Some of you might think about this, some of you will never think about this. But I think about this crap a lot. And so here I am, I'm in my seat, I'm in my zone, everything's working good, and I go up to turn on the light and it doesn't work. And I thought, well, sometimes the button is a dead button and you just got to jangle it a bit. And I'll be darned, it's not, the light, overhead light's not coming on. I'm like, that was a serious power outage. And then I said to the flight attendant, you know, my light's not working. He goes, oh yeah, they're working. Because people tell you stuff sometimes, and this is interesting, leaders. People tell you stuff sometimes like it's real. And this is called gaslighting. So the flight attendant goes, oh no, they're working. And I actually doubted myself after trying the damn thing 8 times. It must be me. It must be user error on this stupid button, right? And he comes back and he goes, I'm so sorry, sir. All the overhead lights are out. And I go, I know. And then when we got here, you got a whole new set of problems because motion causes this interesting change, right? And we're all checking in, and we got the hot water timed out, and I'm in my room, and I have another adventure in my room because while I do not comb my hair, I actually wash it. And to wash it, you have to blow dry it, and the blow dryers here are huge. They're like the size of Massachusetts. And I'm blow drying my hair, and they're louder. They're really loud. You notice this? And I have some hair, so like this is like, it's like an onslaught, right? And it sounds like an airplane taking off. And then I turned off the blow dryer, and it was an airplane taking off. And I think that the move from PN to PE is also the motion of the ocean, man, right? And if you're going to be around the ocean, you got to know your jetsam from your flotsam. Anybody know the diff? Jetsam is the stuff like you got trouble on board and the boat's filling with water. I hope this never happens to you. And this is not a metaphor for your club. I don't think. And things are rough, and you got to get something. You got to throw something overboard to lighten the load a little bit, and that's called jetsam. It's the stuff that you lose on purpose. Jetsam. Flotsam is the stuff that you lose accidentally. And I started thinking about, presidents-elect and clubs and how it works. And an example of jetsam is, I knew a president who said that, when she takes over for the club, she had made a thing about not ringing the bell, purposely. She said, and her argument was that the bell is Pavlovian, and it wasn't supposed to be funny, but I'll take it. That the bell was Pavlovian and that she's a pretty good speaker. She doesn't need help getting anybody's attention. She's just going to start talking. She doesn't need the bell. So she's going to, not use it. And two interesting things happened. Nobody noticed for 4 weeks. That was interesting. And then as soon as her presidency ended, the next president started ringing the bell again, which I also thought was interesting because you're not in control for longer than a year. And that's why continuity is important. You got to if you're in a boat, you got to be rowing at the same time with the other leaders, especially the incoming club leaders. An example of flotsam, the stuff that you lose accidentally, is when you make a change like that and a purist in the back of the room says, this isn't my Rotary Club anymore, I need my bell. Or you decide to stop singing, because it's not working anyway. There's always a debate about whether you should be a singing club. How many of you are still singing? Anybody? Yeah, a lot of clubs, sure. And so if you ever have a little conundrum about this, a little debate, there's a really easy way to solve it. So all you do is you record the club singing really loud. Don't get ahead of me now. And then you listen to the recording. If the recording sounds good, you're a singing club. Now that was supposed to be funny. I do a lot of work in technology. I teach presentation skills, but I spend time with salespeople and leaders and customer service and that sort of thing. And I got a couple gigs in the tech industry. In a free market economy, if you do well, people keep calling you to come back. And I was very fortunate. I got some gigs in tech. And I'm not a technical guy, so it was an extra challenge for me. But I've been reading a lot about lately the best way not to get hacked and the best way not to have your identity stolen and things like that. And one of the things that they tell you is you have to do this thing called multi-factor authentication. Anybody know MFA? Yeah. Now, single MFA is that annoying CAPTCHA. You're in a hurry, and now you got to do this. Oh, I got it wrong. What's wrong with me? And you figure it out. Another single-factor authentication is Netflix, because a lot of people have been sharing their Netflix code with 3 generations of their family. Not Rotarians. Rotarians are better than other people. We only share our Netflix codes with our kids. So the best kind of MFA is 3FA, right? And an easy example of 3FA is like in warfare, like nuclear war and stuff. Example. somebody in the defense system would say to somebody else, you know, in a message, we're going to DEFCON 3. And then the other person hears the message and communicates back, DEFCON 3, copy that, right? And the 3 part is the originator says back to the other guy, I understand that you understand that we're going to DEFCON 3. Now this is lovely, and it's important. But in a society that's moving as fast as ours is, we stop communicating 3FA. We stop communicating 2FA. I think it was John yesterday that said, we send an email and just assume everything's going to be good. Doesn't work like that now, does it? So I have some suggestions for you today on how to improve this in a society that's moving super fast, in a society where an entire generation of people have stopped using the telephone. Because it's a real thing. So I have ideas for you. That's the good news. Now, this 3FA is simply put, is what you know, something you have, and who you are. Right? This is how we know that you're supposed to be getting into the vault, or you're supposed to be logging into this account. And it's an interesting metaphor for Rotary because we kind of use 3FA. I never really thought of this before. We use 3FA to identify presidents-elect. We use 3FA to identify Rotarians. And when you get really good at this, you get good at membership. Example, something you know. So we know that you're ready to be president-elect because you know something about Rotary. You've been in for a period of time. People in your club, rational, sane people, said that you could be a good president, and now here you are at Pets, right? But just in case they were wrong, we fire-hosed you yesterday. Because there may be some stuff that you don't know yet, so we got to make sure you know it. And so we want you to come to this mandatory program. It's an interesting word. We use mandatory to describe Pets, that you cannot be president of your club unless you come to Pets. Have you heard this? Yeah. And attendance is down a little bit this year for this mandatory program. Don't feel bad. It's down in all of the regions. Pets is, for various reasons. The slowdown, we're still coming back. Clubs are rebooting. All kinds of issues. But maybe instead of calling it mandatory, maybe we should say something else, because over-communicating is good, right? Mandatory is the easy default word to describe Pets. You have to go. And call me crazy, but I think we need more events in Rotary that you don't have to go to. I think we need more events that you want to go to. So why don't we talk about Pets like Pets is your single best chance to be a successful club president. And what do you get? Yeah. And what do you get from that message? The inference is, right? I imply, you infer. The inference is, I can't miss this. I got to go. I want to go. Who doesn't want to be successful? And that little message is delivered like an Easter egg. It's pretty cool. Something you have. Sometimes we're interested in people's money in Rotary because that's how we fund the foundation, which is a perennial 4-star rating in Charity Navigator. It's one of the best run foundations in the world. Fabulous. And we need money to run the engine. We need money. It's the gas that runs the engine, right? Sometimes it's skills. Like I know a lot of the presidents-elect that are coming into positions, they're going to be levying their skills in whatever. Maybe they're good at writing. Maybe they're good at numeracy. In my case, I was a pretty good speaker when I joined Rotary. And my give back to Rotary is a little fundraiser that I do. I hadn't planned to tell you this, but I'm happy to do it. I love Texas. The fundraiser works like this. We have a public event for 100 people. We charge them $50 to get in. We get $5,000 in sponsors, and this is a $10,000 net, like clockwork, for a club that can follow instructions. Does this make sense to you? Now here's my favorite part. I promise you M&Ms, money and members. You're going to get a $10,000 net, which may be your best fundraiser in a long time, and you're going to get 80 people coming to the club-sponsored event that are not Rotarians. I'm going to walk them into you. And all you have to do now is land the fish. You think you can do that? We teach them professional development, speaking skills, sales classes. We've done customer service, and it's all, of course, couched in motivation and humor, so it's great. They just talk to me afterward about this. And I'm not hard to find, by the way, on social. Q, could you once in a while throw up a slide? Thank you very much. This is an interesting Facebook group. For my money, the best Facebook group, Rotary Facebook group, online. I started it, and I didn't know what was going to happen, and it turns out people love it because we don't do dump and run on this site. This is not a seagull group. If you're in the middle, by the way, it may keystone on you. You have to maybe get up and figure it out. But like in this group, do not post what you're having chicken on Tuesday at your lunch, right? Because we're going to help you with marketing campaigns. We're going to help you be better at bringing in members and raising money. So it's a very nutritious site, and I think you'll enjoy it. We'll leave it up long enough to shoot it. And it's called Get the Word Out Now. You can just write it down and go find it as well. Yeah, because I think if you're president-elect, you're not just allowed to make changes in your club. You're obligated to make changes to the club. Improvements. I mean, what kind of improvements are we talking about? This is an interesting thing because some of you would just have your hands full keeping the ship afloat, you know, just doing the stuff that everybody did last year. That's going to be like the muscle memory, and the club's going to fight you on anything you want to change. That's the big joke about pets. You get super excited, all these ideas, you go back, you're going to tell the club about how the club can be better, and the club's not going to want to do any of this crap. Don't forget, they've sent a bunch of presidents to pets, and it's always the same when they come back. They're full of ideas. We're going to do this. And they go, nope. So I'm going to give you some persuasive techniques to deal with that as well before we're done. Interesting story about change and how it works. So I'm going to take a basic customer service model. I'm going to tell you what happened, and then it'll explain to you how you could go back and make a similar change in the club. I belong to the Troy Club in Michigan, and we have a sister club in Lebanon, and we bought a bunch of buses for the schools, a school for the blind. And as a follow-up, we were all going to pay our own money to go to Lebanon to actually see the buses, see how they're working, see what we can do for them next, that kind of a thing. And while we were there, we're going to go to a district conference in that part of the world, which was lovely. It was on the banks of the Nile River, this event. Beautiful. And I bought one of those necklaces that has Nile River water in it. It broke in my suitcase. So one of the side trips, we're going to go to the Great Pyramids of Giza. Has anybody been? One of the great 7 wonders of the world, I think, and it's a beautiful place to go. And so we got to the thing, and it's hot. I don't know if you heard, they're in the desert. And we get to the camel. We're going to ride a camel right at the Great Pyramids of Giza. And so my group gets all suited up, get your instructions, and we get on the camel. Camel is not a pleasant animal, everybody. They smell. There's insects and flies and stuff, and but you overlook all that stuff for the thrill of doing this once in a lifetime thing. And so I'm on the camel, and the first thing the camel steward does, I'm pretty sure that's not what they're called. The camel steward walks us away from the rest of the group. And I'm like, what's this now, you know, because you're in a foreign country and you got your New York face on, and I'm like, what's this, what's going on? And he goes, he's on the ground and I'm up on the camel, and he looks up at me and he smiles, and he doesn't have very many teeth. And it's just a bizarre scenario, right? And he goes, are you happy? And I said to myself right away, and then I started saying it to him. I said, are you kidding, man? I'm in Egypt. I'm with my Rotarian peeps. The Great Pyramids of Giza are right over there. I'm riding a camel. Of course I'm happy. And he holds out his hand and he says, now would be a good time to show appreciation. I'm like, what now? Because in America, we tip after the service is rendered. His hand is still out. I found some Egyptian pounds. It wasn't an unreasonable request. It was just out of order. You see? Okay, stay with me. So tip him. We go on the jaunt, and it's really, just walk in a circle, and you come back. And then we get to where we're supposed to dismount. I'm pretty sure that's not what it's called. And he looks up at me again with that same toothless smile, and he goes, "Are we happy?" I know what's coming next. And I go, "Yes, great, thank you very much. How do I get down?" And he says, so he figured out how to get tipped twice. And here's my favorite part. I didn't feel bad about it. It was a remarkable experience. He deserved to be tipped twice. More Egyptian pounds, pass them down to him. It was the only way he was going to let me down off the camel. So you see, he changed a very simple model just by changing the order of how he did it, and it was a remarkable experience all around. And this is the kind of thing you have to think about with your club, because this is how innovation works. So back to 3FA, what you know, something you have, and who you are. We're looking for people to lead Rotary who have 3 qualities. You write them down: coachable, decisive, and resourceful. If you have those 3 qualities, you can bang it as president. And we're looking for those 3 qualities in other Rotarians. So when you get good at recognizing that quality in other people, you found a potential Rotarian. You found a benefactor. You found somebody to come to your wine tasting. Because you start to zone in on and zoom in on those types of people. There was a flood, a really bad flood in Baton Rouge a while back. You all made me remember 5 to 8 years ago, maybe. And Baton Rouge is not in the floodplain. Yeah, you remember. Baton Rouge is not in the floodplain, so they were super surprised. But my brother called me from his place, Prairieville, and he was crying. And we had been tracking this on the news because it was such a big thing. And he was crying, and I knew right away what he was about to tell me. He said, everything's gone. He said, the house is flooded. We're in 6 inches of water. He says, Michael, I don't know what, it's my youngest brother, Rob. He says, I don't know what we're going to do. And I said, well, first things first, I think, is cleanup. You got some people coming? He says, yeah, they do this sometimes down here with floods, with the crew coming out. And I said, I'm going to be on the first plane to come down. And he got quiet. And that's how I knew he loved me. And I had other things going. I canceled my other things, and I went down to see my brother. And I've never been a first responder before. Lots of you are and have been and will be. But it is a remarkable experience. It's not just something that makes you feel good for helping out. First, you have to be traumatized yourself. And as I rode into the flood zone, I noticed that there was a lot of furniture and stuff out on the, it's like everybody was having a garage sale on the same day. Because when your house floods, anything that gets wet has to be thrown out. And everything had gotten wet in everyone's house. And everybody had just gone out to the curb with all of their furnishings, all of their furniture. And we rolled into my brother's neighborhood, and I see furniture. I'd been with my brother at his house many times, and the credenza and the couch and stuff is out in the front yard. And I'm like, my heart goes up into my throat, and I'm like, oh my God, how bad can this be? And I go in, and I just stand in. I had let myself in because he's out back, and we met in the middle of the house, and we didn't even say anything to each other. My brother Rob, who is not like this, he fell into my arms weeping. And I stayed to do the, I wanted to be there for this cleanup that comes in. They have a crew that does this. Anybody know what they're called? Demo? Maybe demo crew or something? What is it? Restoration? Yeah. Well, it's not that official. Like they're not even employees. They're people from the neighborhood, and it turns out service clubs that come in to do this nasty work, and it is nasty. We're in the middle of the summer, and no electricity, of course. All the power's out, and we got masks on. This is pre-COVID. And we're gonna cut out the drywall, like 24 inches above the floor. Take it all out. Go in with flat shovels and pull out all that soft, mucky insulation. Right? The hardwood floors all have to be pried up. When we were done, you could look through the house on the bottom, you could see all the way through the house because all of the walls were gone. And that's just the cleanup part. Now it all has to be repaired, right? So it's a very, very traumatic thing. And I kept asking my brother, what time's the crew get here? And he goes, well, they'll be here such and such a time. I said, who is it? Who's the organizing group? And when I said it, I'm like leaning in, like, because I'm listening for the R word, right? This would be like the best. Because now Rotary's helping my brother in his time of need. This would be the best. And he didn't know. He said, they're just coming. I think I was there the night before. I flew in the night before, so I get there at 5 o'clock in the morning because it's going to be a 12, 14-hour day. This is how they work. And I get there, and they're not here yet. They're not here yet. And then he says they're here all of a sudden. And we go outside, and these 10 guys get off, all men, because it's nasty work, man. Nobody wants to do this. It meant these guys are good at it. And they've got all their tools and stuff. They got thermoses. They got generators. They got all the stuff they need to gut my brother's house. And I said, so nice to meet you guys. And we're like football team, you know, choosing sides. We're all standing around in a circle and flipping a coin to see who's going to go in first, that kind of a thing. And I said, what group are you with? And they said, Kiwanis. And it made me feel so good. Because there's people like us out there. Sometimes they're just called something else. Later, I found out Rotary contributed money to my brother's neighborhood because they had been doing their work on the ground. Rotary was not absent. I just didn't see them that day. And my brother got a taste of service in a way that he never thought he would. But these are the kinds of people, resourceful, coachable, decisive. They get stuff done. It's lovely. All right, get out your pencils. Here we go. Nobody uses a pencil anymore. Get out your, whatever it is you're taking notes with. You're not going to remember this stuff. But the videos will be available on the PET site, so you can check it out there. 3 things you need to do as presidents-elect. Here we go. Number 1, you need to get your comms on track. Now, one way to do this is in your phones, now this is a tech tip. In your phones, you want to put the letters RC in the first name field of your contact. RC. So Jim Henry, right? So it would be RC Jim in the first name field. Now, if I ever want to call anybody and I do this for all the members of my club, it'll take you a few minutes. But anytime I want to call anybody in my club, what do I type into my phone? RC, and they all come up. Because some of you don't know all the names of the people in your club yet. And some of you won't remember first names and last names and phone numbers and stuff like that. It's a very easy way to find your peeps, so that's great. Number 2, get goals with numbers. Very important to get goals with numbers, right? How many members exactly are you going to bring in? How much money are you going to raise exactly? Get that plan together. Aim for the bullseye, not the target. By the way, I'd like to keep in touch with you, and I want to give away some books. Jim, could you give me those books that are on the table behind you? We're going to do it like this. If you've got a business card, just get it out quietly and hold it up. The sergeants will come around. Ryan, thank you for this. I meant to mention it earlier. And these are the books, everybody. I'm going to give you inspiration and knowledge. The knowledge comes in the Work Hacks book, right? Time saving, persuasion, motivation, speaking tips are in this book. You're going to love it. And this is inspiration. These are little aphorisms that help you remember that there's a bright side to life and you need to make time to do this, especially during your president-elect year. We're going to give away 3 sets of books today, and we'll do that as soon as the cards get collected. Thanks for your patience. Let's talk about persuasion. So I want you to get really good at what's called the first impressions, or the first 15 seconds of an interaction. This is important if you're in front of the club and you're getting ready to start the meeting. Always start the meeting with a smile on your face. Watch the difference. So I ring the bell, watch. Ring. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Let's do it again, right? Ring. Hey, everybody, welcome. It's Troy Rotary time. You see the difference? And you'll forget to smile because it's not in your notes and you're scared out of your mind, especially the first week in July. So smile in the first 15 seconds. You also want to develop what's called the 10-word close. Now, I won't give you the 10-word close today. It's usually very subjective and customized anyway, but I'll give you a great example of a 5-word close to close Rotarians. Ready? Let's make it forward close. Do you like kids? Forward close. What's the answer to that question almost every time? What a coincidence. I belong to an organization that spends a lot of money helping children in our area. Boom. Would you like to attend a meeting? Would you like to come here as speaker next week? So a 5-word close. And then, of course, you want to use a positive adjective before the noun. Anytime you're introducing people and introducing speakers, talking about members of the club, right? Vicky's here, everybody. What a terrific job she did on the such and such project. She is the most organized person I know. I love her. And you say that not to Vicky privately, but in front of everybody, which makes it even more powerful. Very, very good. More speaking tips as we wrap up. I want to show you something called the half step. Pretty cool. So when you're talking about something, pitching an idea to the club, the half step can either make you or break you. Watch, I'll show you how this works. And we're just going to put the cards on the front of the stage here, if you don't mind, and we'll fan them out and give them away. Wrapping up. So the half step works like this. I think this is a great idea. Did you catch it? Watch. I think this is a great idea. Watch when I do half step forward. I think this is a great idea. It's so subtle, but so powerful. Another one is the sun coming up, which is this. This is the greeting. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Troy Rotary. Guys, you'll have to work harder on this. Texans, you'll have to work really hard on this. Okay. And then let's do the giveaway here. We'll fan the cards out on the card. Just bring them up, and we'll make it right for everybody. If you haven't collected your card, just bring it up yourself. We'll do this quickly. Okay. I remember, by the way, when Ray Nagin was mayor of New Orleans, and thank you, just spread them on the floor, and actually stay with me, Ryan, we'll draw the cards. We're going to draw 3 right away, and then we're going to call the names. Ray Nagin, I'll tell you about Ray Nagin in just a second. Let's give the books away. We're going to draw 3 of them right away. Come up quickly. Jennifer Gage, where are you at? Jennifer. Where's Ryan Dramgool? And Robert Andrew, come on up. Give him a round of applause. Come on. Thank you very much, everybody. Got some books here for you. What club are you in, please?
Angelina Club in Lufkin.
Fantastic. You're going to be a great president. Thank you. I'll sign the books for you afterward. Thank you very much. 2 of them. There you go. Thank you. How are you? What club are you in?
Denton Evening Rotary.
You're going to be amazing. Say it with me. I'm going to be amazing.
I'm going to be amazing.
Very good. Thank you. How are you, sir? What club are you in?
Norman, Oklahoma.
I'm proud of you. You're going to be a great president.
Thank you very much. I will be.
Yeah, I know you will. Thank you very much. Okay, let go of my hand. No. Okay, we just collect those and take your time. I'm going to close with something Ray Nagin said when he was governor of mayor of NOLA during Katrina. He got a lot of attention. He was in the media all the time because it was such a big thing. And they kept asking him, what are your plans for moving forward? And Ray said something very interesting. He said, we're going to make New Orleans as good as it used to be. And I remember thinking to myself, we could do better. And as you become president in this very interesting time of change and motion, I want you to remember that you don't have to make your club as good as it used to be. You can make your club better. Thank you very much, and thank you for being part of the greatest service organization in the world, Rotary.